A few days ago, Stacy King gave some Lonzo Ball fans and some Bulls fans overall some hope that Lonzo Ball could still be the starting point guard for the Chicago Bulls. On tonight's episode, I'm going to tell y'all why that ain't happening. We're going to get into all and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. So real quick episode tonight. I've been wanting to really talk about this since Stacy King recently had an episode of his podcast in which he talked about that he would not be surprised if Lonzo Ball ends up the starting point guard for the Chicago Bulls. And while I know that Stacy King was rooted, especially in being a player, in being honest, I don't think he meant any dishonesty by it. There's just no chance, really, of Lonzo Ball being the starting point guard for the Chicago Bulls. And we're going to run down the reasons why, right? We're going to start off with, of course, Lonzo's health, which is the most obvious thing. Lonzo Ball, if he is even cleared, right, which we heard that he was looking to be cleared at the beginning of August. We're now 5 days into August. We still haven't heard that he's cleared or not, but that's neither here nor there. Lonzo Ball, even if cleared for 5-on-5, it's still a major step before being cleared for actual return to basketball, to NBA basketball, which means that leaves him, if he's cleared now, let's just say for the assumption that we don't know, but he was cleared at some point since the start of this month. That would leave then Lonzo Ball about 6 weeks to get cleared and ready to go for NBA training camp. That's one thing, right? Now, if he is fully healed and cleared, you show me a player that after being out of basketball for almost 3 years, keep in mind, if he's cleared on day one of the season, that would be 2 years and 9 months since he went down with injury. You show me a player that's been able to come back from injury at that point in time. And before any Ball family stands get to talking about, well, Lonzo it's not, but everybody's NBA game is based off like athleticism, and the defender that Lonzo Ball was, you know how many angles you need to take with your knee and be able to cut with that. Lonzo Ball is not going to return and be right back to Lonzo Ball. I think so many stands have taken this Lonzo could be cleared and healthy, meaning that a healthy Lonzo Ball gets right back to what he was before. No, healthy in this case for Lonzo Ball basically means you're okay to play basketball. You were cleared to go out there and play basketball, but there is still building up that density back in that bone, right? The muscles around the bone, building back up the strength for that. Lonzo Ball, even if cleared on day one, is not going to go right back to being the Lonzo that we saw before he went down with injury. That's just not going to happen. If you are trying to convince yourself of that being the thing, that is you are being foolish. Just to be 100% honest with you. No, Lonzo Ball is not going to come back and be right back to him. A healthy Lonzo Ball doesn't mean a back to before he left Lonzo Ball. Healthy in this case for Lonzo just means you're able to get on the basketball court. There's a whole different set of standards at that point on getting back, even if he ever is able to get back to what he was able to be at one point in time. Then doubling down on top of that, you showed me that the Bulls have clearly signaled to us what their plans are going forward. Josh Giddey is the point guard of the future. If the Bulls truly believed that Lonzo Ball was going to be back and be able to be a starter, do you think they would have traded for a 21-year-old point guard that they have to pay at the end of this season? No. It's just not going to happen. And so there goes back to what it comes down to is this, like, I get it. And I understand the hope. I've said it before. Some of the most fun that I've had in the last decade of a Bulls fan was at times when Lonzo Ball was on the court. And the young man, I hope that he is able to get back to basketball. He's 26 years old. He should be able to still fight for the dream that he has. But some, not all, some Bulls fans have convinced themselves that something's going to happen that just isn't feasible. It's just not feasible. Lonzo Ball is not going to come back and be the starter of the Chicago Bulls. Hell, he's not even going to come back and average 20 minutes per game. You don't build the new direction of your franchise around a player with dead men's ligaments and tendons in his knee and cartilage. You just don't do that. That would be one of the most foolish things that the Chicago Bulls front office has done. And this is where I get into kind of my high horse to a degree of some stuff with Bulls fans. Bulls fans will really try to convince them of some stuff that doesn't make any type of actual sense in reality. But the hope, right? The hope that is going to happen is what it gets down to. It's not. It's not. It's not going to happen. Now, that's not to say that Lonzo Ball can't, over the course of the season, potentially get back to being ramped up. I'm not saying that. But a good indication, there are two really good indicators for Lonzo Ball when you look at the severity of the injury and how much time that Lonzo Ball has been out. That's Jonathan Isaacs out of the Orlando Magic, and that is Sean Livingston. Brandon Roy doesn't cut it, completely different type of surgery, and he didn't come back. People who try to use Brandon Roy, people who try to use Steph Curry, that was an ankle, much different. They thought he was going to have a more severe surgery. He ended up not having to have as severe of a surgery as what they thought at one point in time he was going to have. It comes down to that. And both those guys, you look at Jonathan Isaac, I think Jonathan Isaac is really a really great example of a player that's been out for a long time with injury and has come back and been able to turn his career around. A lot of people look at Jonathan Isaac right now that he's probably the best per minute defender in the NBA right now, on-ball defender in the NBA. Right? He's turned himself into one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA, and you can't take that away from him. But go and look at how many minutes he averages. Go and look at it. They very well managed Jonathan Isaac's minutes. He averaged last year less than 16 minutes per game. Less than 16. Keep in mind, this is a guy who is one of the best on-ball perimeter defenders in the game of basketball right now, and they made sure that he averaged less than 16 minutes per game. And he only played in 58 games last season. 58 games last season. And he played in 2022-23, right? He played 11 games that season. 11 minutes per game over that. There's no clear path where Lonzo Ball, all of a sudden, because he's cleared, gets right back to being the Lonzo Ball that he was before. And it's so crazy to see so many Bulls fans really try to convince themselves that Lonzo Ball is going to come back because he's healthy and all of a sudden be the same player that we saw before he went down. And it doesn't make any sense. It does not make any sense. It doesn't make any sense medically. It doesn't make any sense hope-wise. It doesn't make any sense for the construction of what this team has told you to do. I need everybody to realize that if Lonzo Ball comes back next season, unless he's willing to take close to a vet minimum to stay here, we are very well looking at the last season of him being in a Chicago Bulls uniform, and that's just the reality of this. Are a lot of people going to like hearing that? Are there going to be people in the comment section after this live stream saying, oh, Haize, you're tripping. Haize, you're this. Haize, you're that. Yeah, but y'all got to wake up. If y'all want to be willfully ignorant to the fact of the matter of what this is, what the situation is, that ain't got nothing to do with me. You got to chalk that up to the God that you serve. But at the end of the day, like this nonsense has to stop. It has to stop. And I get it. Like I said, this isn't coming at Stacy King, so please don't take it that way because Stacy's my guy. You already know he's been on the show several times. But it comes back to the simple fact of the matter is that there is no route in which it makes sense to start Lonzo Ball. This is a player that, like I said, the best case scenario is you're looking at maybe 60 games played by Lonzo Ball next season on probably between 14 to 16 minutes per game. That's it. That's what you're looking at for Lonzo Ball. And that's perfectly fine in being out of basketball for almost 3 years. See, the problem is that some people want hope. And they want something that's just not realistic. And when you can look at it and just be honest and real with yourself and realize it's probably not coming, right? And this is all if Lonzo Ball is even cleared. And don't get to started talking about that. Well, he said he was going to be cleared for 5-on-5. Yeah, him being cleared for 5-on-5 isn't cleared for to get on a basketball court in the NBA. That's cleared for the next medical step before you're finally cleared to return back to the basketball court. You got to wake up. You got to wake up is all I'm saying. You got to wake up. He has dead people in his knee. When people say we see dead people, they just look at Lonzo's knee. You want to see dead people? Look at Lonzo Ball's knee. That's just it. That's what it comes down to, man. That's just what it comes down to. Reginald Sort says Zoe will be lucky to play 54 games and average 12 minutes per game. Facts. Stacy is being honest, and I love him, but he does overly love our players like pretty much all the time. But that's why we love Stacy, because he's positive and got. Oh yeah, listen, and that's why I said this isn't against Stacy at all. I understand what Stacy was doing and what he was trying to say. The problem is that a lot of Bulls fans don't have that objectivity, and all they do is hear, "Oh, hey, you heard Stacy said that he could see Lonzo starting. You think he knows? Oh yeah, Stacy knows Lonzo starting next year," and it just starts like a snowball effect. It just gets to a point now where you got people saying, "Oh yeah, Josh Giddey ain't starting, Lonzo Ball starting." What? What are we doing here? Y'all talk about living in the past and then stay on living in the past, and it makes no sense. Makes no sense. Reginald Source says, I think Livingston is the ceiling for Zoe career-wise. Well, I mean, it's a lot of change medically. I won't say that that's necessarily a ceiling. I do understand what you're getting at that completely, so it's not that I don't understand. I won't say that yet. I hope they use his contract as filler and try to get something back for it. At least it's an expiring contract. I mean, that's possible. It's possible. We love Stacy, but he be smoking some good za on the Bulls players. I mean, listen, that's Stacy being genuinely Stacy, right? Like, it's not that I don't think he's doing anything for clicks or anything like that. He's just being genuinely himself, and you always gotta love that, right? Like, what do I always say? Understanding and agreement are two very different things. I can understand where somebody's coming from, but not necessarily agree. This is what it is. Purdue, I think, checked Stacy on that. I mean, yeah, he did. And it kind of is what it is there, man. I don't expect Lonzo to start, but he'll play. I won't even say that that's a guarantee yet. I won't even say that that's a guarantee that he'll play. He's not cleared yet. Now, if he's cleared some, but let's be clear here. Let's just go down the line. Lonzo Ball isn't passing Josh Giddey up in the rotation. We're just going to look at the guards here, right? He's not passing Josh Giddey up. He's not going to pass Zach LaVine up. He's not going to pass Ayo Dosunmu up. So even at that point, you're looking at three guards ahead of him. The three guards. So even if you do play Lonzo Ball as your fourth guard, that would be your second guard off the bench. And that's still an if, right? We're not even saying if that's a for sure thing. Your fourth guard is not getting a whole bunch of minutes because guess what? You still got to play your backup forward more minutes. Modest is probably getting more minutes than Lonzo Ball. Jalen Smith, he's the only other big that we have on the team. He's getting minutes before Lonzo Ball gets minutes, right? Now, could Lonzo Ball, if he's fully healthy, get minutes before Dalen Terry? That's a possibility, but I won't even say that that's a foregone conclusion because, again, if you need a versatile defender that can be active, there's no guarantee that Lonzo in that first year is going to be as mobile as what he was as a defender before. There's just not. Now, hopefully he can be, right? Now, a hobbled Lonzo Ball is still better than the ball-headed whole Javon Carter. But still, even with that said, you're still looking at Javon didn't get very many minutes towards the end of that season, right? So, like, in Reginald Zoe gets minutes before Carter. Yeah, but Carter may not even be in the rotation. Keep in mind, this is what I'm saying right now, period. And Brazil popular, I'm about to break down because that's not happening either. Billy Donovan only goes 9 deep into his rotation with the 10th guy flexing in and out. Sometimes that 10th guy won't play 2 or 3 games. Some games they'll play 15 minutes. Sometimes they won't play at all. So if you're looking at the typical 9-man rotation that Billy Donovan has, again, the 5 starters. Then you got Ayo coming off the bench. Miles Busilis coming off the bench. Jalen Smith coming off the bench. Then at that point, what? You got the other players are all fighting over that 9th role, and that is determined by what you need out there on the court. Very often it's probably going to be Torrey Craig or Julian Phillips, something like that. It's still not guaranteed that even, he'll be above Javon Carter, but that doesn't guarantee anything. Ayo is not going to be the starting point guard either. Ayo wasn't even the starting point guard when he started last year. He was the starting 2 guard. Like, I need everybody to stop trying to outthink what's clearly obvious. Josh Giddey is the starting point guard for the Chicago Bulls. You don't trade your best asset and then say that, hey, we could have gotten draft picks, but we wanted to get this player that we think is better than anybody else coming in the draft. Oh, and they need a contract extension by the end of the year, or we can extend them during the season and don't start him. Josh Giddey is the star. I need everybody to stop trying to think themselves into a circle when you're in a square box. Josh Giddey is going to be the starting point guard next year. That just is what it is. But Tim, another one who could be a three-point shooter. Haven't even mentioned him a whole lot this offseason, right? Again, Eco Bean, there's no guarantee Lonzo Ball is going to be in the rotation. There's just not. And even if he is in the rotation, it's not going to be playing heavy minutes at all. He'll be the ninth guy off the bench. So, and even this, you should be actually less because again, this is a surgery that you go look at the history of players that have had a first surgery in the NBA and how their careers have failed. Not failed, but fared. There's never been somebody in the NBA who's been the first to have a surgery that it ended up working out for them. In the short term or the long term. What's up, bro? It's been a minute, and yeah, at this point in his career, depending on his health, I see Lonzo somewhat like a TJ McConnell role, defense, bitch energy, role player who can give a bit of offense. I mean, we got to see. We got to see. The Klay Thompson comparison post-injury makes a lot of sense. Just playing, bro. I know Io not going to be the point guard, but he should be the best player on the team right now. I won't say that he's not better than Kobe. But I mean, I would assume it was a damn good player, and he's going to be given a lot of opportunity. He's going to play starting level minutes. No, he won't be in the Windy City. He's going to be on the actual bench. He's not on a two-way contract. He's going to be on the actual now. He may not play, but he's going to be on the actual Chicago Bulls roster. Any trade value for a fully healthy? No, because again, like I said before, fully healthy in this case just means you're clear to play basketball. That does not really dictate any type of level of play on the basketball court. So just because he's fully healthy, it does not mean that he's going to have trade value. He'll have to come back and look semi all right. Yeah, you do because nobody was going to take him. Like, let's not act like it'd be different if you talked about they signed him to a new deal over that time. No, he's clearing out his deal. You didn't have the option of just getting rid of him. So no, it's again, no, you're not gonna just because he was here, that does not just mean he's gonna get minutes, Eco Bean. TBO says best players P Wood. Come on, bro. Bro, come on, man. Lay off the fent, my guy. Lay off of it. Do you think Zoe will be on the NBA roster next year, or should he just get into coaching? No, I mean, listen, I think Lonzo Ball should pursue a return as long as his body allows him to, because you just never know, right? Like, imagine had Sean Livingston completely given up. Imagine had Jonathan Isaac completely given up. It'd be different if Lonzo Ball was like in his 30s. He's 26 years old right now. He should not give up. If there was an available free agent you would sign now, who would you look? I mean, I'm not even going to get into that. We have no roster spots, so I'm not even going to waste my brain. Now, and this isn't going to come at you, Melvin. I'm not even going to waste my time on that. All our roster spots are locked up. I'm not going to waste my brain power trying to think of what free agents I would sign. So, what are the odds Billy wins coach of the? That's really what you wanted to type. You had one opportunity. This is your shot to get on the big time, and that's what you decided to type to me. Come on, man. Come on, brother. Come on. It's just Lonzo will have to really commit to being a role player. I mean, you ain't got to commit. You just got to get it together, man. You just got to get it together. What are the odds AK wins executive of the year? Listen, shit. If the Bulls get a top 4 seed with the way that that everybody's the national media has talked about the Bulls' decision, He needs to win Executive of the Year. Well, the insurance paid it anyway. So let's be clear. I think I think what Eco Bean is confusing is the injury provision versus the insurance is paying Lonzo's contract at least 50% of Lonzo's contract anyway. That's part of the reason why the Bulls kept him around. Because think about it. Had the Bulls, they could have traded Lonzo Ball's contract, but then they would have had to pay the full amount of whatever contract they traded for out of their pockets. Insurance is eating at least, it may even be more than 50% of Lonzo's contract. So there you go on that one. But all right, y'all, I'm gonna get ready to wrap it up. 20 minutes on this. But yeah, I just had to listen. Stop the cap. We got it. We got to stop. We got to stop. We got to stop. I know I wear a lot of caps here, but stop the cap. Stop the cap. But I love you guys, man. Make sure you guys are following the show at Bull Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. BullCentralPod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We're the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. Thanks to you guys. And like I like to end every episode on, go Bulls. Love you guys. See red if you can, y'all. Peace.